Hello everyone. Wow, my voice is still very croaky. We're going to ignore that for the time being. And I have tried to record this intro about 3 times already, and then right next to my window has just been like the loudest noise that I'm pretty sure is from a couple doors down because they're currently having some work done on the house. And I was a little bit like, oh, okay, thank you, not very helpful, but oh well. Today we are going to go for a walk together. I am not feeling my best today, more mentally than physically. I feel fine physically at the moment, despite the croaky voice. I am well aware that that is still an issue. You know, I'm still slightly recovering from whatever cold illness I had, but I really need to get out of the house because it's already 5 p.m. I got out of bed at like 2:30. I have not been in the best mood today, but if there's something that will help, I know it's going outside. So as much as I really don't want to, I know that this is going to be the best thing for me at the moment. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take my camera. I'm going to take you along with me, because with this channel I want to be as transparent as I can. I mean, without like, you know, telling you all my intimate life details or whatever, I still want to, you know, try and be as honest as possible. And if you've ever dealt with anxiety or depression like I have, it can really suck and it can really sort of take over everything, especially when you don't want it to, and it just tends to consume everything in its path. So today I'm not going to let it. I am going to take myself outside, take myself for a nice walk, for some photography. I'm going to take my headphones to listen to some music on the way and hopefully have a good time, because it's something I can control right now, and that's what I need to focus on. So yeah, the weather is nice, thankfully. It's all sunny today. It's actually quite warm. I'm like in this like short sleeve jumper thing and I already feel quite warm. I might have to change into a t-shirt or something better, but I will sort that out in just a minute, and I will get my camera gear and I will get myself outside and I will catch up with you once I'm there. So no specific photography goals for today, more just I want to photograph what I see on my way, and we can just have a little chit chat while I'm doing that. So yeah, let's go outside. Okay, I've made it outside, but because it's nearly 6 p.m, the sun's like getting quite low, so I keep noticing that when I walk in this direction it's like right in my face. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a walk. I know there's like a park near my house I might wander to, but yeah, I'm not looking for anything particular. I've got my camera in my bag here, and I'm literally just going to see where the wind takes me, I suppose. I mean, hopefully there won't be a lot of people around because it's almost 6 p.m, and yeah, I'll just see what I want to photograph. You know, I don't intend on being out too late. As you can probably hear, I still get a little bit out of breath from walking because of my cold, so I can't imagine this being too long of a photography excursion, but we will see. So yeah, I'm going to just start walking along and get out my camera when I see something that takes my fancy. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to photograph that, and we'll see what happens. As you can clearly tell, walking and talking was not a very good idea for me in that moment. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but you know when you have like a bad like chesty cold, it's then quite difficult for me to be able to like catch my breath afterwards. For like a good like week or two afterwards, I'm constantly so tired out from basic movement. So anyway, I just started walking along this alleyway. You might recognise it from a couple other videos I've done just because I like walking this way, but I've never actually stopped and taken photos in this particular alleyway, so I thought I'd make the most of that at the moment and just have a look at the different things, like the graffiti on the fence caught my attention, the brickwork at the bottom, and all the leaves. So I set the camera up. As you can see, here's me finding the possibly silliest angle I could have, but I didn't want to carry my massive tripod around with me for my camera. So instead, I just resorted to propping my phone up on top of a fence in between. I think there were like 2 brick walls. I just sort of wedged it in there and was like, yeah, that'll do. But here I was trying to adjust my settings. I had my ISO on 100 to start with, and then later changed it to be auto, just because I noticed that some of the images weren't quite dark enough for my liking. And typically, I find that auto ISO works a little bit better for me. But what I was doing here was literally just walking around and, well, I'm not walking at the moment, I'm just standing still. But I kept on finding different plants I wanted to photograph, and this was basically just a little trial section because I could not get some settings right. But we got there in the end, and I looked around. As you can see, there were like plants in the fence that I really liked, and it was still quite sunny for this time of day, so I had a good opportunity to take some really nice photos where the sunlight was hitting the plants perfectly.
Okay, I think we're making pretty good progress. I mean, I haven't actually walked that far. I'm still only halfway down that first alleyway, but there's quite a lot of photography opportunities here that I hadn't initially thought about. So that's good. I mean, I guess it just sort of goes to show that you don't have to travel far to get some really good photography, because sometimes you just need to look a little bit closer and you'll see that there's a lot of things you can photograph that you might necessarily not have spotted before. So, you know, this might be a sign that if you are into photography but thinking that, oh, I don't have a lot of things around that would make for some great photos, just look a little closer, you know? Just go out, take a walk around near your house and just see what you can find, because it doesn't have to be beautiful nature and wide landscapes. Even some things like I quite enjoy photos of like litter or graffiti and just other urban things like that. Like I took a photo of an empty iron brew can that someone had put up on one of these spikes up here. So I wouldn't necessarily think that, oh yeah, that's gonna be a great photo, but I'm happy with the result I got. So I'm going to keep walking, and if I see something else I want to photograph, I'll just get the camera out.
So carry on walking I did. I just walked around. There were a couple of flower bushes by a couple of the houses I was nearby, and we all know how much I love photographing flowers. So this bush and the flowers that had fallen onto the ground were definitely a opportunity for me.
I just spent maybe about 5 minutes trying to take a photo of a bumblebee, and normally that would have been absolutely fine because you just wait for the bee to land on a flower or a leaf and then just have a fast shutter speed and just take a photo of it. But annoyingly, this bumblebee would not stay still, and it was so difficult for me to get a photo of it that was in focus and whatever else. So we moved on. But I've got lovely photos of a couple flower bushes and, you know, just things like that from the houses that I've just walked past. But now we're going on to like a little park, so hopefully I'll be able to get a couple more good photos. We'll see. Again, this isn't really something in terms of I have a set theme I want to do for the photos or anything like that. It's just a case of walking, taking photos of things that intrigue me. Just, you know, something fun to do.
Once I'd actually arrived at the park, I decided just to sit down on the grass for a little bit and try and photograph a couple of these dandelions. But it was actually really nice to just take a moment to sit in the sunlight, just, you know, on some grass and just take a minute to breathe, you know, it felt great.
I just sat on the ground for like 10 minutes and it was fabulous. I mean, I sat down so I could get low enough to photograph some flowers, but it was actually kind of therapeutic, just lying down on the grass. I don't know why, but Oh well, there were some people here earlier, but now they've all gone. And there's like a kids' play park right in front of me, so I might try and do some close-ups of like all the metals and things like that. See if maybe there's some rust on some of like the pipes and whatever. So I'm trying to get a couple of photos of those. And then I think I'm going to start walking back home, but go the long way round, so I'll be able to like see different things to photograph. So yeah, let's try that.
Now, I'm not sure if this is something that other people are fascinated with, but I'm always looking for like small details in particularly metal where there's maybe like rusting or scratches, but I'm always so obsessed with that sort of look. And so I photographed that and then actually tried to photograph a couple of these seagulls before eventually making my way back to the main road. And walking along the path there, I was going to pass by a couple of houses where I knew there'd be some flower bushes, some, you know, just little plants, some brickwork, things like that. Just some classic, simple things for me to photograph. And I had very very stupidly not worn a jacket, and as it was reaching about 7 p.m. it was starting to get a little bit cold, so I was like, yeah, okay, I think we can wrap this up now. So carried on walking, got my camera out whenever I saw something I wanted to photograph, but that's it. Okay, I'm back home now, and as you can see I look a little bit windswept, and I almost immediately threw a jacket on because when I left the house it was fairly warm still. And then on the walk back home, I was like, oh, okay, no, I am freezing now, but it's all good. I think that the shoot itself was actually fairly successful. I have about 54 photos uploading right now. I've already transferred them to my iPad and to Google Drive and that entire process, so that's good. And I think it was really nice for me to just go out and take these photos, because sometimes it's nice to not put any pressure on yourself to find a certain subject and photograph certain things, and it's really nice to just do it for the sake of enjoying yourself and having fun with photography, because that's what made me fall in love with it, was just enjoying myself and having fun. So I'm glad I was able to sort of recenter that purpose of photography for myself today. And I hope you've enjoyed, you know, just coming along with me on this walk. You know, it's just nice to go out with your own company for a little bit. And I really enjoyed it. So even though I maybe started today feeling a little bit crappy about myself and, you know, not really feeling my best, I do feel pretty good now. And I think that's the main thing. That was the main thing I wanted to achieve. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go because it's about like 7:15 and I'm about to enjoy some dinner of leftover pizza, which is great. So I will see you all in my next video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share. You know, I appreciate every comment I get, every like I get, every view. It all means so much to me. So I want to say thank you and enjoy this gallery wall of all the photos. And I hope you see me soon in my next video. I was about to say I hope I see you in my next video, but I physically can't. I'm looking at myself right now. Anyway, I'm rambling. Love you all. See you in my next video. Bye.